Welcome to this video on urban futures, a summary of the module taken from OCRB. We're going to guide you through the key core content. Before we do that, let's just have a look at where this fits. You can see that it's in the second paper, People and Society, and it is that first module there, Urban Futures. So we're going to cover very briefly today why more than half the world's population live in urban areas, looking at the global pattern of urbanization, how this is changing, and what it means for cities. And we're looking at the challenges and opportunities for cities today, with a focus on two case studies. Now, these are in separate YouTube videos, one for London, which is an example of a city in an advanced country, and one for Lagos, an example of a city in an LIDC. So we're going to look at what life is like for people in a city and how cities can become more sustainable. We will briefly touch on London in this video. But as I said, those two case studies are separately stored here in our Tube Valley School Geography YouTube channel. So let's have a look at the general characteristics, the general core content that you need to know. So the world's population is growing rapidly, we know this, and has reached 8 billion people this year in 2023. The highest rates of population growth are occurring in emerging and developing countries and low-income developing countries like Niger, Bahrain, and Equatorial Guinea. Some countries are actually experiencing population decline, like Japan, Russia, and Romania, but their cities are still growing and changing. And today, more than 55% of the world's population live in urban areas. Cities, we know, are large urban settlements. The number of cities with over 10 million people is increasing. These are called megacities. In 1950, there were only two, New York and Tokyo, and today there are at least 33. Now, mostly these are in LIDCs in emerging and developing countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. By 2030, it's expected to be more than 40. A world city is globally important. These are the cities like London and Tokyo. Notice Tokyo is a megacity and a world city, which has an economical cultural status that is recognized above other cities. So these are the top 10 megacities. You can see there Tokyo with a population of over 37 million, Delhi 29 million. You'll notice, obviously, our case study, London, is not there because its population is about 8.6 million. So let's have a look at the causes of urban growth. The population of cities changes in one of two ways, either natural increase or decrease if it's going down. That's the difference between the number of births and the number of deaths, or migration, the movement of people into or out of the city. More and more people are leaving rural areas and moving to cities. This is called rural to urban migration, and people move because of push and pull factors. Push factors are those things that make people want to leave rural areas, and pull factors are the things that attract people to the city. It can also be the other way around as well. You can be pushed from a city and pulled into the countryside. So here are some examples of push factors: unemployment, lower wages, crop failure, poor living conditions, poor health and education service, few facilities and natural disasters, and civil war are all examples of push factors. Pull factors into the city include more jobs, higher wages, better living conditions, better education and health services, better facilities, less chance of natural disasters. The impacts of this rural to urban migration, so people moving from the countryside to the city, impacts on both areas. So on the rural area, there are lots of positives. There's fewer people to feed. There's more land per person, more resources per person. Money may be sent home by migrants, but there are also some negatives. The population structure is upset by a loss of young people who have gone in search of jobs. Fewer economically active men are left in the rural community, and families are split up. The elderly remain, and the death rate in the community may increase. And on the urban areas, you've got this increased economically active element of the community. There's an increase in the cultural wealth, more knowledge and skills. But then the negatives, there's pressure on places to live, tensions between older and newer residents, and pressure on services like education and healthcare. So what are the urban trends in advanced countries and cities? They're less clear and they vary from place to place, but there are 3 recent trends. The first one is suburbanisation, where the suburbs on the outer edge of the settlement grow outwards as new houses and services are built to accommodate more people. This type of expansion sees the settlement grow in the expensive surrounding green land, a bit like Whitchurch, if you like, around Bristol. The second one is counter-urbanisation, when people move from an urban area to a more rural area. Push and pull factors still apply here. People wish to escape from the urban problems like pollution, congestion, poor housing and high crime rates. An example of counter-urbanisation can be found in London or in Bristol, moving to the Chew Valley. And then there's this re-urbanisation, when people move back into inner city areas where populations had previously declined due to a range of social, economic and environmental issues. These areas are improved or gentrified by public and private funding and then attract both young and older people who enjoy the benefits of being near the city centre. An example of this would be Cabot Circus encouraging people to move back to Bristol. So let's have a look at how they've improved urban sustainability a bit in London. Urban areas can be made more sustainable by encouraging water conservation, so looking at dual flush toilets in businesses, homes, collecting rainwater for gardens and the use of water meters. You can also do it through energy conservation, so insulating businesses and homes, the use of double and triple glazing, use of low energy lighting and appliances, and also waste recycling of household and commercial waste, adopting a reduce, reuse, recycle policy, and using grey water that's already been used to flush toilets in public buildings. You can also create green spaces, increasing the number of parks and planting more trees like the Queen Elizabeth Park in London. You can also do it through transport. So we know our case study is London, and that London is attempting to be sustainable by encouraging the use of public transport in an attempt to reduce traffic congestion. London has adopted and/or improved several schemes. There's been an extension on the London Underground with the Jubilee line, which has encouraged more people to use public transport. The Oyster card is an integrated travel payment method, which is allowing people to use buses, trains and tubes really quickly and efficiently. And then you've got the congestion charge. And this has discouraged people from driving their own vehicles, and as a fee is charged to any vehicle travelling between 7 and 6 Monday to Friday. There's also a bike sharing scheme. They can be self-hired in public places for as little as £2 for short journeys, and it's encouraged many people to cycle, reducing traffic congestion. Now, just a reminder of your case studies. So you will be asked for a city in an advanced country, and obviously that would be London, or a city in an LIDC or an EDC, which is Lagos in Nigeria. And reminding you that these are both available on the CBS Geography YouTube channel. Thank you for listening.